Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, and I think we should just do a quick intro like every time.
Okay.
Oh, hand looks really well. Can't move it into the
Um,
camera. Okay. Anyways. Hmm. My hand, it's my fractured hand. It looks really purple in the camera.
Are you sure you're not a part of a fight club?
I'm sure.
Because every week you come on, you've got some. Last week you had a plate in your mouth. This week your hand's fucked up.
I still have the blade in my mouth.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not convinced that you're not fighting underground for money.
I never know. Might be what I have to resort to.
That's funny. I tell my buddies it's not only fans, it's only mans if things get real
That
tough.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, should let you know we've been recording. Bum,
No,
bum,
we
bum.
haven't.
Yeah, we have.
Or we
Yeah,
are
we're
on
2
air.
minutes in. Ever since you started doing your little mic thing, I just hit record.
Thanks. Is it to make an example of me to your tech people, your tech friends? Like, this is the idiot populations are more.
You're not an idiot.
This is
That's funny.
this is a primary I target market. They're idiots.
That's funny. I didn't get the part though where you said we should do an intro. So let's go.
Oh, okay. Well, for those of you who've been listening, I'm Dr. Ayala. I'm a board certified physician, believe it or not. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much me.
And I'm Q, CEO and founder of Volani Tech Company. And then I also have a consulting company as well.
Yeah. I guess I should say what I do. So I'm a full time, I'm a partner and shareholder at Emerald Family Physicians. And then I also own AFP Aesthetics and Wellness, which is like a telemedicine online hormone, peptide, weight loss, and longevity clinic, along with a med spa
Yep.
for people that are local. So yeah,
And you're great at what you do.
thanks. As
Y-
are you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So
Too.
I'm going to start off with I don't know if you know this week was Apple's 50th, their 50-year anniversary. So I'm going to read off some facts from when they launched the first Macintosh in 1984. Are you ready for these?
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
Okay. The president of the United States was Ronald Reagan. It was his first term, and he won the election in a landslide later that year. The Super Bowl was Los Angeles Raiders, and they beat the Washington Redskins. This one blew my mind. It's going to blow your mind. The average
Okay.
median new house price was $78,000. Can you
That's
believe
just
that?
depressing. That's just depressing.
$78,000. I mean, now you can't even buy that for like a shack from Home Depot, you know?
I know. Yeah.
The average new car price was $11,000.
Hmm.
Man, 1984 was a good year.
A
This one's,
new car, brand new off the lot, like
yeah, brand new
driving.
off the lot, 11,000.
You can't even
Okay.
get a piece for $11,000 now.
Oh yeah. The medium family income was 26,000.
Okay.
The minimum wage was $3.35.
Okay.
You'll appreciate this one. The college tuition was $1,200 per 4 years.
Oh, wait, for the entire 4 years?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. No, no,
That's
no.
like
No, no, no. $1,200 per year.
oh, okay, okay.
And private schools, so like your super Ivy League schools were 5,000 per year, which that was still kind of a bit back then. But 1,200 a year for like your regular like
But
University of Texas, Baylor, 1,200 a year. So you could
Yeah,
get your degree for less than $4,900 in 1984.
it's like $16,000 a year. That's like, I don't know, 1,600 times,
For?
like, or 16 times the inflation. Like, how much?
Oh, it's gone
Over
way up.
50.
Yeah, it's no, it's
Yeah.
closer to
No,
1,100%.
yeah, exactly. It's like, that's what I mean. That's insane.
And the same thing with the house. The house, so it used to cost around 3x to buy a house, 3 times your salary, and now it's closer to 11 times your salary to buy a house. Just mind-blowing
Mm.
because your salary hasn't gone up 11x in that time.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Mm-mm.
the number 1 song was "When Doves Cry" by Prince. He
Mm.
was one of the biggest artists in 1984 along with Madonna, Tina Turner, Cyndi Lauper, and no other than Michael Jackson.
Okay. Say, so you were not born yet, though, when the first Macintosh came to be. Is that
No.
correct?
No, I was not.
Okay.
Were you?
No.
No, you
Also, I
weren't.
lived in South Africa. I'm not sure I knew what a Macintosh was when I was born, anyways. And it, at least a couple years.
That's funny. Well, they
And
actually almost went bankrupt shortly after. Apple had a very awful start. Well, they had a high start and then they went downhill. A lot of people don't know this. So Bill Gates and Microsoft actually put in, I think it was $150 million to save Apple from going bankrupt because as a whole, they needed them as a competitor so the industry as a whole could go up. So that's a fun little fact.
oh, I
Yeah.
did not.
Microsoft saved Apple. Bill Gates doesn't get
Hmm.
enough credit for that. The
Yeah.
CD players were just brand new and they cost $900
Really?
for a CD player.
CD? I used to love CDs. I had a huge collection of CDs
Oh man,
back
didn't
in the
we
day.
all?
And I knew the lyrics to all of them because I'd always read the little lyrics in the back and like sing and dance to them. I
Well,
mean, there was no iPad
no. Well,
or
and if
phone.
you still have a CD player, CDs they play the waveform, so it's the studio quality. Whereas if you listen to something on Spotify or Apple Music, it's an MP3, so the quality's way, 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 way lower. So a
If
vinyl
you're
player,
somebody that like is not nuanced enough to notice the difference, hear
you,
the difference.
well, it's like if you look at 4K long enough, then it's hard to go back to 720.
Okay.
Does that make
That
sense?
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I have a vinyl collection, and like the more I listen to them, and then I show my friends, I'll play the same song on vinyl 3 times over, and then I put on the
Mhm.
Spotify, and they're like, "God, that is awful." But you can't take your vinyl player with you in the car, you know, to the beach.
Yeah.
It's stuck in the living room. So
Fair enough.
yes,
I mean, I'm so used to Spotify, whatever. Quality. If it was really bad, it would maybe bother me, but I don't know. I don't really pay much attention to it.
well there you go. That puts you in with a lot of people. Not me, because
Yeah.
I have great taste.
That's right. You're just super techy.
I am
Okay,
techie.
so going back, so I grew up in South Africa and we had one computer in the house and internet was really expensive. So I couldn't get on it. I couldn't use the internet. And schools, like not everybody had a computer at home. So there was no computers, like any homework that needed to be done on a computer or anything like that. Um, and every now and again I would get to use the computer, but it was, I don't know, maybe Word or something, like it just it wasn't part of growing up. And we maybe had one computer class in school, but it wasn't anything near comparable to the United States. Anyways, I moved here in 2005. I just started high school and computer class was a huge deal. And everybody could type here. I guess they had what was that? It was that chat thing. Was it MSM?
Yeah.
I don't remember because I could have had it, but it was like that whole chat room. Oh my god.
And it lights up.
Oh my god. Um, but I had this computer keeper and she would always get so mad at me because I was the last person in the class that like I could never finish on time. Never. It took me forever to type things or whatever. And yeah, it was not the most pleasant experience. It was the only class I like sucked at. But I got it. I mean, obviously now I can use computer well, for what I need, I can use computers just fine. But
Wait,
I
but
was
did she
the 3rd.
understand that you came from another country and you didn't have
I'm
computers
not
growing
sure
up?
she grasped that concept entirely. Like, I'm not sure how aware she was
Mm.
of it. I mean, I'm sure I had told her like, "Oh, I'm new to computers," or something, but, like, I don't think people really know, like, if they
Until they
haven't
go
been
through
there.
it themselves.
But even if you've traveled there, it's not like you're immersed in the school system, right? As a traveler, you're a tourist. So but yeah, no, she had no idea.
We like to watch this thing on YouTube, and it's this guy, and
Mhm.
I don't know his ethnicity, but I would definitely say probably Caucasian, but he's not Chinese. And he'll
Okay.
go to New York City, Chinatown, to these restaurants and speak perfect Mandarin. And when you see all of these people, the way they look at him, they're blown away. Like, how do you speak so good? And I was telling my
Wow.
kids, when you have somebody in your school and English is their second language, even though their language or their English is broken, they're still speaking way more of your language than you're speaking of theirs. And like that is really admirable because that is not easy to do.
Mm-mm. I'm almost like I always think like I'm shy to speak Spanish or try to speak Spanish because I'm so bad at it. But then I try and think, well, how do I think they feel
Mm.
speaking English? And English is one of the hardest languages to learn.
Yeah.
Really is. Because we have words that you pronounce them differently and they spelled the same, or they have multiple different meanings. And,
Mhm.
they all like, I don't know,
I
like
met a guy from
bear.
Japan, and he said the hardest thing to understand was our sarcasm when we would say things like, "Oh, he's lazy. He's just pushing daisies." Like, he was like, "Pushing daisies? Who's pushing daisies?" Like, he was
Yeah,
taking everything
very
so literal.
literal. Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's like probably like, all cultures have sayings that you would have to translate. Um, like even in South Africa, although we speak English, there's a lot of Afrikaans influence in the culture.
Mhm.
And there are some mannerisms that are not used in the US that even if they were even if they were in English, it's just a different culture. Like we have different sayings, that mean I can't pull one like off the top of my head right now, but I know that just in conversation before I've said things or a saying and people are like, I've never heard that. What does that mean?
Right.
So, but like it's common in other languages too. I mean, in all cultures, it's very like cultural specifics, like sayings or meanings of things or
Has it been hard to keep
whatever.
your accent since you've been over here?
Yes and no. I think I knew I didn't want to lose my accent. Obviously, it's inevitable. So I'm very in and out, I think, naturally. Um, sorry, my headphones keep falling out. So I'm very in and out. Um, and also, so I dictate a lot on whether it's just me on my phone, text messaging, or dictating my notes. And in order for the like Siri or whoever to understand me, I do have to change my accent to more American for it to spell what I'm actually
That's
saying.
not as cool. Like, there's n
Yeah,
American accent's
hilarious.
nowhere near as cool as South African or British or English.
I don't know. I just think we're so used to it, like we you're I mean, Hollywood, all the movies are I mean, not all the movies are American, but most of it, you guys kinda rule the whole entertainment industry, so it's distributed all around the world, so it's common. Whereas, like, you don't hear other accents that that often, you
You
know?
know, I love an Irish accent. When Conor McGregor's like, "Take a gargle, Dana." I love the Irish accents.
So, when I moved here, I couldn't actually tell the difference between the American accents.
Oh, really?
So, like yeah, like a New Yorker and a Texan, I mean, everybody just sounded American to me, and it wasn't until I had moved here and had lived here long enough that I started to hear all the different accents. But it's really funny because, and I don't know if this is in South Africa or maybe just non-Americans do this, but we call all of you well, I used to,
You what do you mean,
now
you
I
people?
don't. Well, Americans, we used to call all of you Yankees. We're
Calls
like,
what?
"Oh, are you Yank Yankees."
Yankees? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
New
like,
York Yankees.
we call Americans Yanks. But but now that I live here, like, that's ridiculous
Oh, you
because, like,
Yanks.
America's huge and I live in Texas, and so it's funny that we call everybody Yanks because, like, it's very specific, you know?
To New York
Um,
City? Yeah.
yeah, but in America, just I mean, in South Africa, any American was a Yank. Like,
That's funny.
it was a yeah, I
That's
don't know.
hilarious. I've actually never been called a Yank in my life, so thank you. I made it to 33.
Yeah, but travel through South Africa and you piss somebody off and they'd probably say like, "Oh, you bloody Yank."
You bloody Yank. Yeah,
And it
well,
could be like, "I'm not from New York," and they're like, "You're American." Like, doesn't
yeah.
matter. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
true.
You know, like, I just don't think just like how you wouldn't understand nuances of South Africa, right? Like,
Mhm.
South Africa oh god, these stupid headphones. Um, how South Africa is just like a country, one big country, like, different cities or different parts of the cities have different things associated with like, you wouldn't know that
Do y'all
unless you
have
were
the
to
same
grow
accent all the way through?
No, well, yes and no. So, South Africa was settled by the British and the Dutch, and then, so there's British descendants, which I'm part British, like, my dad is from England. My mother I'm actually Jewish, so a lot of my other ancestors are Polish and Lithuanian, but majority English. And then there's the Dutch settlers, and they're Afrikaans. And I don't really know how to explain the accent. I actually did have more of an Afrikaans accent before I moved to the US because I was just around a lot of, like, Afrikaners, and so my accent was naturally I don't know if you would necessarily call it stronger, but you can definitely notice a difference
Mhm.
between, like, English descent and Afrikaans or Dutch descent. And then there's 11 official, like, African languages. Not just African languages, there's hundreds of Africans, like, different African tribes and languages spoken within South Africa, but 11 oh, sorry, 9 official African languages of the country. In total, there's 11 official designated languages of South Africa. English, Afrikaans, and then the 9 African languages.
Whoa. And how often
Like,
do you go
America
back?
has 1 official language, English, pretty much.
Do you go back often?
Mm-mm. I haven't been back since 2008, briefly, and I haven't been back since it's been a really long time. So I'm sure like tons changed since I've been there. So whatever I remember is how it was. Like I don't know. I want to go back. I definitely want to visit. Um, it's a long flight though. Of
Is
little
there a
kids
reason?
to go back.
Reason
Oh,
why you
I mean,
haven't come back?
oh, no. I mean, yes and no, right? It's long. It's expensive, and I've been just in school for so like it's not something that you want to go just for a week.
Right.
You need to spend time there. But really, I've just been in school for so long, and
Yeah.
kind of chasing and pursuing these dreams that didn't give me an opportunity for a while to travel. And when I did have the opportunity to travel, like I did a study abroad and stuff, but like that happened to be in England or somewhere I hadn't been before.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but I will one day. My kids need to be a little older because I really want to show them like where I was raised, but it's super dangerous. My husband actually pulled up this uh list and it was the most dangerous cities in the world. And four of the top five were cities in South Africa. And I think where I was, raised is, like, I think it was number 3 or something.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah,
wild. You're a gangster.
that's right. I was actually so crazy. I was and I don't think you'd ever believe this, like, now that you know me, and, yeah, people would sometimes describe me as bougie and whatever, but, like,
You're not bougie.
eh, yes and no. I'm pretty down to earth, but I like nice
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
you
what
know,
you have is
like
taste.
okay, thank you. I have taste,
There
yes.
you go.
But I was a pretty rough and tough girl. And I think a lot of South African girls, I mean, you have to be. You have to know how to hold your own there. Like it's a dangerous place. Like I'd never walked in the streets before. Um, Rape is super high there. Like almost everybody there has a story to tell. Um, and you kind of build this armor around yourself, this really rough tough girl exterior, and a lot of I mean, all the girls are kind of rough. I mean, they just got like a rough edge to them, and I think I had that for a long time, and it wasn't till not only me moving here, I think I still had a lot of that, um, until I met my husband, and I think he's just such like a manly man that I can be feminine.
Yeah.
I can finally not have to be so tough,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I'm allowed to be female, all
Right.
female. That makes sense. And also, I don't live in South Africa, like
You're not fighting for your life every day.
yeah, I can walk outside my house and, like, walk to the street. I don't have, like, a barbed wire fence around the front of my house and, like, security gates and getting escorted in by security into my house if I come home past dark and, like, all crazy things. Well, but, like, so twofold. But, yeah, really, I, like, lost a lot of my, like, rough and tough attitude or whatever, when I'm in like, after being with my husband.
That's a good thing, I'm assuming. Like, nothing good comes out of, like, carrying that defensive chip, especially as you age,
Yeah,
because then it's like you're always looking for a fight. And there's nothing worse than,
yeah,
like, a grown-up always trying to fight somebody.
yeah, yeah, and I don't think, like, it's like that. I really think it's just, like, not trusting anybody, not
Mhm.
feeling safe
Yeah.
around anybody, and then, again, like, my husband he's like such a protector, such a manly man that to me is like a safety. Like that
Yeah.
it allows me to breathe and be like, oh, somebody else is taking care of me. Like,
You feel secure.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's like a huge thing. I'm gonna speak generally. I don't really want to bring up his job specifically, but he's in law enforcement, a very like man's man, rough, rough and tough, but like and maybe it's because of where I was raised or how I was raised, whatever it was, but, like, that is the most masculine quality
Right.
to me. Like, I can provide for myself, and a man providing for me financially not that I want a freeloader, like, that wouldn't attract me either, don't get me wrong. And, of course, like, if we go on a date, he pays, you know, and, like, still does those things and still opens my door or what you know what I mean? But I I think while some women see a man providing as the most masculine thing, mine is the safety aspect.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes him the man of the house. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even though, like, I could pay for everything.
He's very manly. W
And
when I went to pick up that table and I was trying to figure out how we're gonna lift it, and I'm waiting on my buddies, he's like, "Oh, it's pretty light. We'll just lift it." Yeah, it's light. We'll just lift it." He lifts it
yeah.
up like it's nothing, and I'm sitting here like, "Oh my god." Like I work out, I'm strong, but he's a different
Yeah,
level of strong. He's like, "Yeah, let's just do it." And then when you turn to the side, I'm like, "Hey, hold on, man."
yeah.
My back is all turned to the side. I'm fucking getting
I
scoliosis
know.
over here on
Well,
demand.
it's really funny because there's these things on Instagram, and I don't know if you've seen it, any of them. And I can't say it verbatim, but it's these women, and it's like when your husband asks you to help them with something, and they think you're strong enough to like like sometimes they don't realize how strong they are compared to, and they're like, "Oh, just hold this up for me,"
Yeah,
and your this tiny little girl like falls on their head. Just something terrible happens,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, kind of funny,
That's
but
hilarious. Tell me about your successful schedule. It was something we were chatting about earlier. Is that something you have, or is it something you're wanting to do?
no, I mean, I just think like I'm a very high performer and always have been. And what I mean by that is I've achieved a lot of things. Um, and I'm a full-time physician. I own a practice. I have another business. I hire employees. I'm a
You're an
mom.
investor.
I'm an investor. I'm a mom. I'm a present mom. At that, like I'm not like I have a good relationship with my kids. I'm a wife. I keep a home. Um, and I actually still find time to exercise and take care of my health. I eat pretty healthy and um I think like I'm a perfectionist. So do I think I'm always striving to improve. I always think I'm not doing good enough. But I do think a lot of people are always I'm too busy to work out. I'm too busy to do X. And I think I've just played with my schedule so much and I'm more flexible. Like I change my schedule frequently to fit in the things that are important to me, right? Um and I've done that successfully for years. I also am very resilient and I was I'm resilient because of the challenges that I've been through, and I truly do everybody has a different level of resilience. You're not born necessarily resilient. You're resilient because of the challenges you put yourself through, and also what you believe you can overcome, right? And once you prove to yourself like, "Oh, wow, I can do this," um, you build up a resilience. And somebody once said it was this analogy, but like everybody's given a different plate. And some people have paper plates. And if you put too much on the paper plate, it's going to break. And some people have plates, glass plates. And some people have steel plates and that are bigger. And kind of an analogy of how much you can put on your plate without breaking.
Mm.
And we all have different plates. And but I also think that you can build that plate. It's a mindset, it's a lifestyle, and I think yeah, so is my schedule perfect? No, but I think being a high performer, you have to have some level of efficiency. There are lots of fat doctors, right?
Oh
Unhealthy
yeah,
doctors.
yeah.
Um, I mean, how many times do we hear people, "I don't have time to work out,"
Or I hear people
you
say
know?
that about a lot of stuff. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time to
I was
read.
in residency, like working 80 hours a week, being a mom of 2, a wife. I actually didn't have my mom didn't live, around, and I still worked out. I still maintained my health. Like,
Have you ever been overweight outside of
um,
pregnancy? Which I
eh,
don't think that constitutes as overweight, but outside of pregnancy,
yeah,
have you ever been
um, never overweight. Have I been, like, chubby for my standards, like, my standards of how lean
like
I like to
size
be?
3 instead of size 2? Is that what you're saying?
Size 4 instead of size nah, it was well,
You know Beyonce wears size 14?
um, I don't judge other girls, though, it's just me,
I'm
like,
just
I
joking. I'm joking.
actually love, like, and it's also how you carry yourself as a
Correct.
woman and where you hold your curves. I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is how you carry yourself and the confidence. It's weird, but I think a lot of girls feel that way. We see other girls as, like, beautiful if they're even more got more meat on them or whatever, but, like, ourselves, we're extremely hard on ourselves.
Yeah, I
Um,
think women have it very, very hard. Just the standards, the trends, the fashion, it is a constant game of catch up, get behind, catch up, and get behind with what from the eyebrows to the lip liner to the way you do the blush, eyelashes, no eyelashes. I mean, I think women actually have it the hardest when it comes to these physical appearances.
well, I think, like, it's built into us, right? So I really love teenagers. I don't know if you know this, but before I decided to go into medicine, I got my degree to be a high school English teacher because my teenage years were some of the hardest. And I wanted to help other girls through that, through
Yeah.
that time. Um, and if you think about it, when you're a teenager, like the most important thing is your social life.
Mhm.
And what do you care about? You care about how cool the guy is, or like, is he the jock? Is he the athletic one? Whatever, that's deemed cool. Whereas the girl, it's, prom queen. Is she the prettiest? Is she, I mean, that's just, it, it's ingrained
Yeah.
in us. Like, um, and so I think and there's so many facets, we could go down rabbit holes, yeah, but there's just so many facets to how women look, you
Mhm.
know? "Oh, she's so beautiful," or, "Oh, she's not beautiful." So and it's kind of weird because sometimes, like, when I was in medical school or whatever, sometimes I used to think people wouldn't think I'm as smart or respect me as much because I was pretty, versus,
Mm.
like, if I wasn't pretty, would I be seen as smarter?
Or more intelligent.
And I'm
Crazy
not saying
hair, glasses,
true.
no makeup, no
Yeah, I don't
nothing.
know, like, it's all stereotypes, it's
Mhm.
not true, but it's I mean, that that exists for a reason
Mhm.
in our head,
Yeah.
it's driven by something, and I don't think you see men as much that way. Like, you don't think like, "Oh, he's good looking, he's stupid," per se. I don't know. That's not women, and I think it's just,
He's
we
good
are
looking, he's
getting
stupid. That's
you
funny.
know, we're getting a lot more. I mean, women have been in higher roles in the past, but to a much less extent, you know,
Right,
and men
right.
get a lot more. And so I think we're definitely like breaking that stigma and that stereotype of like it's just that it's new. Like
Mhm.
after women have been in the workforce a long time, like that may eventually go away. And do I think people really care? No, because I think when I show up in uh like sometimes I think like that and we call it imposter syndrome
Mhm.
to some extent where you feel like maybe you don't belong. But when I walk into a patient room, I've never had anybody not respect me. And if they've questioned anything, like it's my presence, it's my attitude, like that gains their respect.
Right.
Even if their first impression, like I've had people be like, "Oh, you're really dumb. You don't look old enough to be a doctor,"
Mm.
you know? And I just like I am confident in my ability. And even with those intrusive thoughts of like, oh, do they think I'm not as smart or whatever because pretty, I've had to just block them out and not think of them and be like, those are my thoughts. Those aren't I'm
Right.
project like those are not necessarily that person's thought because I've never actually had a terrible experience that's validated that point for me.
Right. Also,
You
that's a
know,
compliment, you know? If somebody says you look too young, definitely take that as a compliment.
Thanks. But I do justify it though, and I'm like, "Oh, I have 2 children. It's like I shouldn't even justify it. Like, I should
Yeah.
just be like,
Thank
"Thanks,"
you.
and
Yeah, that's a
sometimes
compliment.
I'm
Because one day they're
Mhm.
gonna be like, "Oh, man, you've got some miles on you, don't you? You've been
Yeah,
in this for
yeah,
how long? 30, 40 years? Enjoy the
yeah.
compliments."
Yeah, no, and I should, but I just think, like, sometimes it's like you have to prove to people, and I have to teach myself, like, "No, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody."
Well,
Like,
you know,
you already
that is actually
are.
probably more of a woman's thing because even if you look at these female actresses, you know, if it's a
Mm.
beautiful young girl who's killing it and she's coming up, the first thing that you hear other women say is, "Oh, well, if I had boobs like that, I would be an actress too," or "If I look like that." And it's just not true. I don't know where that comes from in our species. I would like to actually do some history and some research, but on that, though, I do think it is a competitive thing where it's we not I don't think men actually do it as much as women do it to each other, but there is a very big, "Oh, she's here because she's pretty," as if you didn't work hard, as if you didn't, you know, build the resilience to get through it, as if you didn't go through the journey, right? And actually pave the way and get your hands dirty to accomplish or achieve whatever it is. But you don't just see it in your field, you see that everywhere with girl
Yeah.
musicians. It happens with girl comedians, like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah,
she's only
girls can really tear each other down, like, we can be the worst, and it's crazy because, like
hashtag reality TV, love is blind."
yeah, but, like but we also, we say, like, "Oh, guys don't do that really," like or even if they're fighting, like, one punch and it's over, it's, like, not this huge deal, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, if they just more internalize things or it's how that you handle your emotions
No,
versus,
we're
like, how girls
competitive. We're very competitive, not on the external though, right? So for a woman, it's way more beauty, her looks, or the beauty is the cop out. Like this girl is doing good because she's so beautiful, because she looks a certain way. Men do it in a very, very different way. We start with, well, they had both parents. You know, if I went to an Ivy League school, I would be like that too. Or if my daddy paid for college, or if I had a dad around. So men don't do it from the exterior. They do it more from the surrounding of environment, saying, you know, I did it by myself. I would be able to do what they're doing if I didn't have to do it by myself, like they didn't have to do it by themselves. So it's way more
Yeah,
about the supporting cast for a man than it is just the external things that the women probably express, but
yeah,
men do it.
yeah. No, no, I'm sure they do, I'm just saying, like, you know, I mean, even growing up, like, little kids, girls can be very mean. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
saying
know.
boys can't be mean, of course they can be mean, but, like, girls can tear each other apart, and,
Yeah.
I don't
Vicious.
know. Yeah, yeah, and um I've always hung out with either probably more tomboys or boys, and I think for that reason but I think I also have a lot more, like, masculine qualities to me, which is kind of different, like,
Like, are you
I
saying
don't know,
like broad shoulders? Like
like, personal like, I mean, I'm very blunt,
you are
um,
direct. You are direct.
uh, yeah, and sometimes like that, like, I feel like girls are sometimes more sensitive to how things are said.
Mhm.
Which is really ironic because my husband talks to me with any kind of tone. I'm like, "You are yelling at me." But I actually have pretty thick skin with anybody else. If it's somebody really close to me, I'm completely different.
Right.
But, like, you know, there's not a lot of things that hurt my feelings. I don't get my feelings hurt easily. Um, I don't know, I just even in business, like, I'm very more male-minded, I guess. Uh,
You're
and I
logical,
don't know
practical.
why I'm more of a logical thinker than, like, an emotional thinker, um, or, I'm
That
very
probably has to
pragmatic.
do with your upbringing in Africa.
Part of it,
I mean, when you're out
also
there running with cheetahs and
that's
elephants and rhinos, you build some thick skin.
right, that's right. Part of it, but, I mean, I grew up with a single mom, I didn't have a dad.
Right,
I made
right,
my own way,
right.
Um, I don't know. Also, I don't know. I can't tell you why I'm like that. Um, I just kinda am.
Well, no, I think
Like,
your upbringing explains exactly why you're like that. I mean, you had to have a tough skin, and that just you had to have a thick
but I
exterior
never
growing
got
up.
along with girls in South Africa either, like, there were all these girls that I mean, they kinda picked on me, they were mean to me, and I just, like and but I don't think it's how I'm raised, and I think it's more of a character trait because I see that in my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter is very she beats to her own drum. Like, girls will be mean to her, and will it hurt her feelings? Yes, to an extent, but then she really doesn't care. She
Right,
just
but where
moves
does
on, and
that characteristic come from? From your mom? Is it something you got from your dad even though he wasn't around?
I have no idea. I don't my mom's more social than me.
Mhm. Yeah, she's very
Like, she's
extroverted.
more yeah. So, I don't know where it comes from, but it's my and maybe it was my character, maybe it was because of, like, not having a dad and not feeling comfortable in making well, I don't know, you know?
Right.
Or it's just how I was born. It was my some innate quality of mine, and my daughter just happens to have that same trait, you know?
Yeah, it
My
passes
older
down.
daughter.
So, circling
Yeah.
back to you believe that some people in terms of resilience choose to do things, choose to go through things to build that resilience, which ties into not making excuses for your successful schedule, for saying, okay, I've
I
got
don't
to,
necessarily choose it. Well, yes, choose it, but let's be honest. Like, I'm a perfect example of I never thought I'd be a physician,
hmm
and I never thought that was never in the cards for me. Not only from, like, where I grew up or nobody had ever gone to college or I don't know. That was something like I never even thought of aspiring to be. Um, and there's a series of events that happened that maybe was like, wow, you accomplished this. Okay. If you can accomplish this, then let's go to this. And okay, you can accomplish this, so let's try this now. Like I have had positive reinforcement with every step that finally led me to be like, you know, I was at a crossroads and I was like, I can either um yeah, commit to, literally 13 well, no, it wasn't it was like 10 more years of school and become a physician
that's a long time.
or be unhappy and not pursue that because I'm afraid of like the time it takes to get there or, you know, like it came to a point where my level of fear was very little compared to what it would have been 5 years prior if I hadn't had all the experience I'd had.
Right.
And everybody starts somewhere different, right?
hmm
Because of because of life. Maybe the schools, how you were raised. Maybe you have parents that were physicians, so that step of becoming a physician is, like, not a big deal to you, but that doesn't necessarily make you resilient
Right.
entirely, because there are lots of people that can't hack it in, uh, med school, or they do, but, like, that's all they can handle. They could not think of having children in med school,
Right.
or they could not think of exercising in med school. So, like, somewhere along those lines, I have built up enough resilience that said I have already proved to myself I can do this, this, and this. Where failure is not often an option for me.
Right.
Part of it's mentality, but I also think that's a developed mentality. Did I used to have fear? Did I used to have more so? But I think I've just had so much positive reinforcement over the years with different endeavors that I've done and things that I've done and proven that in every single one of them I was successful that that it was like, okay, what's next?
Right.
you know?
So what's the golden nugget, for somebody listening to a woman listening to you saying, okay, she's a doctor. Maybe I don't want to go down that path, or maybe I do. In terms of just a successful schedule, is that saying, hey, I'm going to carve out 30 minutes to at least get my workout in? What is like that anchor? Where do you
Um,
start?
I think you start small. I think so there's this book, and I don't know if you've ever heard it. It's called Atomic Habits
That's
by
a good
James.
book.
It's one of my favorite books. And what I didn't realize is a lot of the things he says, you know, I had maybe done innately. Not everything, not everything, right? Like there's a lot of other habits I would love to have that I don't have. Um, but there's a lot of things that successful people maybe aren't taught that just maybe I had done those steps without realizing I had done those steps already. You
Right.
know, they were baby steps. And I think the thing is like pick one priority. What is one? Is it to add exercise to your, you know, schedule? And yeah, 30 minutes 3 times a week. But the thing is, what most people do is they say, okay, I'm going to do 30 minutes 3 times a week. This is when I'm going to do it. And when they fail, like let's just say they do it and they say, okay, I'm going to wake up at 5:30, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and do 30 minutes. And they sleep through their alarm on day one. And then maybe day two, they do it. Then day three or the third day, I know they're going out of town. So maybe they'll, like something happens where that first schedule that they made or that first attempt, they failed
Mm,
at it, right? I refuse to let that be an excuse for me. Like, I'm not gonna not work out because of my schedule, like, that's not an option.
right.
So, I'm gonna change okay, that didn't work. How else can I rework it to where I always wanted to be a 5 a.m. workout person, and in the past, I was, but, like, with my job now and my kids and Logan, my youngest, is potty training at nighttime, so I'm up in the middle of the night. Like, yes, I fail miserably if I'm trying to wake up at 5 a.m.
Right.
But I didn't say, "Okay, can't fit my workouts in, I'm tired." I was like, "Okay, let me try this. Let me pick my kids up from after school program and take them to the gym. They'll play in the kids club, and I'll have a 30-minute workout there with weights. And then because I wanna spend like, more time with them at home, then not have them be in the kids club, then I'll go home and I'll do, like, 20 minutes of cardio at home a little later."
Right. So it's just
But
about
even in
getting it done and constantly
yeah,
working it to where you're adjusting, you're pivoting to make room.
it's experimenting. It's experimenting with your schedule, and it's saying, "Okay, this didn't work," but believing that there is some way that you can make it work,
Yeah.
and refusing to let failure be an option. Like,
Yep.
failure is not an option. Like, there is no ways that I will not work out. Like, that is not an option for me. I will never tell you, "Oh, this is just a time in my life that I'm too busy to work out." Is it a time in my life that maybe my workouts have to be shorter? Yes. Um, do I need to make adjustments to my workouts to fit them in? Yes. But there will never be a time in my life, unless I'm, like, in an ICU bed and literally can't work out,
Yeah, and I'm
then
gonna
I will
say,
not
"Get up,
work
you
out.
yank. Quit being lazy."
That's all right. And that's not saying, like, I don't skip a week here or there or something doesn't come up, but my overall habits, I am consistent.
Let me interject really quick. So, for the
Yeah.
listeners, when she was talking about
Mm,
this fork in the road in her life, this is how cool the cosmos is. Her and I were both selling real estate in Austin, Texas at the same time without even knowing
that's
each other or knowing this. And here we are
oh,
almost a decade later.
yeah. Yeah.
How wild is
Hey,
that?
that is well. And didn't you say you worked for Keller Williams?
Yeah, the one downtown off of
Did they
Mopac.
do the Myers Briggs on you?
Yeah. Mhm.
Do you remember what you were?
At the time, I was an ENFJ, though I've changed. I am now an ENF or an INF. No, it's extrovert something, but it's the champion one now. But the first one was ENFJ, I think. Or no, ENFP. It was one of those ones, which was the person who was late, super extroverted, like life of the party. And now it's basically the same thing, just I'm on time. Which one were you?
I am ENTJ.
Okay. Yeah.
That's in the category of Steve Jobs, like, a lot of great, like, business, and
Really?
I was like, "Yes." And I've actually taken it, took it and then I took it, like, in med school, and I was an ENTJ again,
Oh, wow.
and so I've remained an ENTJ, which
So
is
we have an
like
inventor on our hands.
mhm. I don't know how accurate those things are. I've done a few of them. I've also done this, like, this colors thing. I don't know, it's like 4 colors,
Mhm.
and blue is, like, how emotional you are. Orange is how, like, um, a thrill seeker or adventure seeker or somebody who will just take these huge, do, type B personality things. Gold is, like, your type A, like,
Mm.
your gold star student, and green is analytical and, um, like, very analytical and whatever. And my gold and green are my highest. I'm very high on gold and green,
Okay.
very type A, gold star student, and very analytical, logical, think very logically. And then my lowest, and then I had this big gap because some people are like more equally distributed. It's
Yeah.
like a point system. And it's kind of weird. But I had this big gap. And then it was like kind of a tie, like emotion and like, like I'm not about to jump a bridge and like go skydive. Like, actually, I am. I wouldn't do bungee jumping, but like I would do tandem. But, I'm not very, like, a huge risk taker, thrill seeker. I'm not about to just, like, book a last minute ticket to Vegas and go party and go
Right.
wild, like,
But you
I
are
like to
very extroverted. You're very extroverted.
see, I am, like, right on the border. I am very extroverted, but then there's, like, a side of me that's also introverted. I don't know. Uh, like, so on that ENTJ thing, you know how it's a scale?
Mhm.
I fall 1 point over into the extroverted from the introverted side. Like, once
Just
if
on the other
you
side.
think of
Come on.
Montana, who's, like, one of my business partners, he's way more extroverted than me.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very extroverted.
I'm extroverted in the right setting around the right people.
And then outside of that, you're an introvert to yourself?
I think, like, give me a stage or give me a thing like podcast, we have a goal, I have a role, I'm very comfortable with that, and I can talk.
Mm.
Give me my room in, like, me with a patient in the room. There's a purpose, there's a goal, I know what to talk about. I'm very comfortable speaking in front of people and doing things, but sometimes, like, at parties or small talk, like, having to go up to people and small talk, like, I suck. Like, I'm awkward. I'd rather just not do it
Well, yeah, I
because I
can't
don't
go
have a
around calling
purpose.
people Yanks.
That's right. That's right. That
What's up,
no,
you
I
Yankers?
don't, like, let loose easy, I'm good in formal settings with a goal and a purpose,
Right.
and I thrive in that, but, like, put me in, like I mean, give me a few drinks, and that's a different story, you
Take
know?
the edge off. Yep,
Yeah,
I get it.
but other than that, like, I'm very socially awkward.
Well, really quick, show the people your hand.
Oh, okay, if I can get it. Do you think it was oh,
Oh
yeah, okay. It's
my
pretty purple, hold
gosh,
on. It's I
man.
know, as I fractured my knuckle. It
She's
actually looks more purple on this side, though, and I
yeah.
don't know why, because this is the fractured knuckle. It's the purple down there, and I actually have bruising, you can tell on my hand, like, the bruising
Oh,
is all the way through, and look at the size
Oh
differences,
my
like,
gosh.
between this hand, like how oh, no, wait, hold on, I'm getting
Yeah.
confused between my hand.
You're
This hand,
definitely in a fight
this
club
hand.
underground
Yeah.
in the back of
Actually, that is how
alleyways.
I broke my wrist when I was you can't see that scar. I have a broken wrist and a plate, it was very stupid
Oh
that I
my
did have
gosh.
somebody break my wrist
Okay.
when I
Before we
was
hop off, I want to talk about the Terrafab factory, which is being
okay,
built for 25 billion. Elon Musk is building it. And it's the
okay.
first factory. I don't know if you know this, but all the chips like in our phones, cameras, computers, to make any of these chips, it's a
Yeah.
long process. And
Mhm.
traditionally, it takes anywhere between 9 to 15 companies to work on specific parts of a chip to make
Okay.
one total chip. So when you hear like Apple Silicon, there's probably 12 to 13 companies helping actually build the Apple Silicon chip. When you hear NVIDIA, so everybody's using OpenAI, ChatGPT, Claude,
Yeah.
NVIDIA builds majority of the chips that power the AI models. And
Yeah,
then,
and there was a couple of years ago, there wasn't there, like, a shortage of chips or something?
oh yeah, and we're kind of
Like,
still
they were
there.
the phones and stuff, or I don't remember exactly what
Yeah,
okay.
because it's the amount of power we use. And so we're consuming so much energy with the AI models. And so
Mhm.
NVIDIA, even though they're the powerhouse of these chips they design them, it takes about 9 to 12 companies to actually build the chips they design. And that's why Elon Musk opening up Terafab factory is such a massive thing in Austin, Texas, because he's the first person who's trying to build all 9 to 12 components of the chip in one place.
Mhm.
So instead of waiting on this company, that company, they're bringing all the materials in house and they're going to try and deliver a full
Yeah.
chip. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, what is the timeline for that?
He builds quickly. I would guess that that chip factory is up and running within 2 years. I would think that they're actually printing chips within three, though they do have some challenges. So they want to import raw materials and output a real chip. And we don't understand like how powerful these chips are. Like we really do take it for granted, but there's billions
Mhm.
of transistors in our phone, like billions.
Oh, the
And all the mathematicals, all the power, just to put in perspective, like when we went to the moon in the 1960s, the moon, I don't know if you believe in the moon landing, the one in the 60s,
yeah,
but this
I
has
mean,
more power
believe
than that spaceship. You believe in it?
what do you mean believe in it?
I don't know if we really went. I'm not convinced.
Why?
I mean, I have my tinfoil hat on that one. We can jump into that one another day. But no, I don't believe in the
Okay.
moon
Well,
landing,
I
though.
have that in front of me, so I feel like I have an opinion, but, like, I couldn't back it up because, like, ask me anything specific about it, and I'm like, I don't know, I haven't done my research."
Well, Artemis 2, the one that just took off yesterday, so they're
Mhm.
flying, the way it works is they're flying twice around Earth. And I think
Okay.
today they broke the gravitational pull from Earth and now they're on trajectory to go to the moon. And then they can only get so close to the moon because they're going to loop around and I think they're going to circle the moon once and slingshot back to Earth. But it's the most space traveled miles by a human being. And they want to get humans to the moon by 2028. Here's the only thing with that. It's really cool and it's a massive accomplishment. However, if you've seen like any deep space movie, I
Mhm.
think you have to be almost born there. I don't know if you've ever heard the horror stories from like astronauts, but there is a lot of reports from real astronauts and interviews where they're saying you get up there and you're away from home. You think you're mentally ready, you think you're psychologically ready, but when you're training at the space station and they've got you locked in this tiny shuttle, you can just walk out and you're still on Earth. But when you get into space, you can't just do that. And so they have
Oh, yeah.
locks on the outside of the spaceship because they've had astronauts try to open the doors from the inside out of panic, just trying to get out and leave. It's a big psychological thing. So I think this whole idea of going to the moon sounds really cool. I just don't think humans will ever be able to stay there unless they're like born there and that's home to them. Does that make sense?
Or we could get, like, mass amounts of people to, like, colonize it. I'm not saying I want that or anything, I'm just saying from, like, a purely a
Well, right. No, well, let's play that game, right? So you get a ton of people when you get there. Fine, totally cool.
uh,
But
uh
how do you make sure they keep the human values human? Right? And then if we say people, okay, is that Americans, Chinese, Japanese, Swiss?
Well, I think that like, we've done that before, though, like, I just think and maybe not in our lifetime, but, like, colonization. How did Native Indians keep their they didn't. They they got annihilated, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, it sucks, it's not a good thing, but but it's being done. Humans, yes, we
Yeah.
are, like, we are animals, um,
Well, we have
and
animalistic behaviors. Yeah.
yeah, like, especially, like, I mean, hopefully, you hope people can use, like, forethought and compassion, but, like, that's a utopia. Let's be real. Um, yeah, you're gonna colonize, you're gonna have to set up a government. You're gonna have to, I mean, just exactly like what was made in America or any other country, when it was developed.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like, I moved to America. That was a culture shock. Do I keep my South African values and always feel out of place and never at home? Or do I give up a part of that and Americanize and make this home? And for some people, they come here, they don't Americanize, and they don't become part of the culture and buy into the system, and they never feel at home. They never feel like they have their place. And there's always a transition period, but in that transition period, you know, I I always wanted to be here. I knew I was gonna stay here. I never wanted to go back home. There was a transition period, but, like, yes, I am very Americanized. Like, this is home to me now. Like,
Right.
I would feel more probably foreign in South Africa. And while it may come back to me quickly or there's nostalgia there, if I speak to a South African or go home and I'm gonna have memories and stuff, like, if I was to go back and live there, I would probably feel very out of place because I
Right.
haven't lived like that in so long. But there's a lot of people who come here. I mean, there's people that try to set up their own cultures within America because, yeah, they're unwilling to get rid of their culture. And there just happens to be a group of them that they can isolate themselves,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But I mean, I think we've already done it. I think we wouldn't be any different
We
on the
have, but
moon.
it is a planet. It's one thing when you can hop on a plane, you can hop on a cruise, but when
Yeah, but
you're
I'm sure
stuck on a
if you're not
different
having
planet,
people there. Yeah, but if you colonize it, like, that would be assuming, like, we have a means to, one, live there. We have found a way to live on the moon.
right.
I'm pretty sure by that time we would have found, like, transport efficiently if we were gonna have a whole colony of people there.
Oh yeah. Well, the other thing is that here to play devil's advocate to my own argument, the moon's 2 hours
Yeah,
or 2 days away.
yeah.
So it's not like you couldn't get back to Earth. It's but
That's
like
like
if
traveling
you're
to
in
South Africa.
Mars, what'd you say?
It's like traveling to South Africa, 17 hours. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
one, but
Traveling to the moon is a 2 day trip from. Of course, you're going super fast, but if going to Mars, that's a 6 year trip, right? So
yeah,
if you get there and you're homesick, you're stuck for a long time.
yeah.
Anywho, I think
Anyways, we've been here for a long time, but
I know we
good
covered a
talk.
lot of ground. You
We did.
coming back for episode 4?
Yes.